everybody. Welcome to Horror Movie Yearbook. I am Tim.
I'm Willie, and I'm currently peeling stickers off of my microphone stand because that's weirdly therapeutic. And then I'm re-sticking them for some reason. It just feels good. Feels right. I don't know why.
Hey, I got a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to this very mean email we got from somebody correcting us.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
Man, our first email in what, months? Yes. And it's mean? Wow.
Very catty, too, a little bit now that I read this.
Who could have done that to us?
You said about Bennifer getting a divorce again.
I just heard about that. No.
Has any... So
there's no prenup. Did you hear that?
No.
Whose idea was that? I guess I'm curious, who's the more rich person?
I don't know. That's the thing is, because I feel like J-Lo has, more irons in the fire. You know what I mean?
She's got clothing lines.
Clothing
she's
lines,
got music. She's got movies.
Acting.
So she's got, but at the same
time...
Ben
mostly has movies and Dunkin' Donuts commercials from what I can tell.
Right. But Affleck's got some serious residuals from some of those movies he did.
Yeah.
Got to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just The Accountant alone.
Absolutely, on TNT constantly,
dude.
And I know, cable TV's not what it used to be, but my
Reindeer Games used to be on the cable all the time, basic cable. So I guess I don't know.
I would imagine I'm gonna go J-Lo. I think she's the moneymaker, but it's not like Ben. It's not like Ben's a freeloader. I don't know. Some of those movies of his lately have not been. What was that Robert Rodriguez one he just made that made nobody?
Yeah, maybe he is.
Although The Accountant is getting a sequel.
That's true.
Yeah.
He could be one of those really funny dudes who's he has money, but he's still he's like, I'm gonna freeload.
Yes.
Wasn't that always the joke about what show is that? There was an animated show where they joked about Good Will Hunting, where it's I want to say it's not The Simpsons, but it wasn't.
Feels like a Family Guy joke.
It might have been Family Guy, where they cut to Good Will Hunting or whatever, behind the scenes, and Matt Damon's typing on the computer, and he's like, blah, 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 Good Will Hunting. And then, Ben Affleck's laying on the couch smoking a bong, and he goes, you're going to put my name on that too, right? It's a really good joke. You
an Affleck guy?
I like Affleck.
I like Affleck too. I feel like he's got some issues. I think
there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy. I'm not even going to pretend. It does seem like I think he's admitted he's battled with a lot of stuff. So
yes, yeah.
I want the most, the best and the most.
Only one horror movie I can think of, Phantoms, which he was the bomb in.
Yeah, he was the bomb in Phantoms.
Yes.
He I like Ben.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know the guy, but I don't know.
He's a likable screen presence.
He's got a likable presence,
yeah.
And I think I think the issue with Affleck is that him and Damon are similar in the sense that they both had opportunities to be movie stars.
Yeah.
Franchise stars, right?
Right.
The difference between the two is the ones Affleck chose for that path did not work out. He tried the action movie route with things like Reindeer Games and Paycheck.
Yeah.
And then he tried the superhero thing with Daredevil when that was starting to kind of rise up. That didn't work out.
Yep.
He's tried these things.
His Batman kind of, yeah.
Batman's another example.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. Damon's tried those things, and pretty much they've always worked out. The Bourne franchise worked out for him. The Oceans franchise worked out. So Damon's had a better luck at the draw, honestly, on that stuff. But I do think Ben Affleck's directorial stuff has been pretty strong.
Yeah.
For the most part. So the last one he did I didn't see. I heard it didn't do great.
Wow. Let's see.
But
Ben Affleck. Director.
Man, I got another hole in my sock. Look at this. It's 2 episodes in a row. Little toes peeking out. It's that time of year,
you know what? I liked that one. He did.
What was it called?
He did Air, right? The Nike movie.
What's the one before that?
All right, let's see. All right, as director, yeah, because he did The Town and Argo. I liked that.
I liked both of those
movies.
Yes.
He did Gone Baby Gone. Man, you know what? He's got a pretty good hit
Dude,
rate,
he does.
honestly. All right, filmography and awards.
There was one before Air, I think, that did not do well.
He was in Buffy, Basketball Player 10 in the movie Buffy. He was playing Basketball Player 10.
He is in the background. Yeah.
I remember he always played he played kind of the heavy early on in his career too.
Even Dazed and Confused, he plays the jerk.
Yeah, Mallrats too. Remember?
Yeah. Yep.
He still has one of my favorite jokes on Mallrats.
So good.
Yeah. I've just seen actor.
Cannot remember the name of this starring movie. He did one after Argo that was just did not.
Who is Ben Affleck director? Well, he didn't do. Did he direct Deepwater? He didn't direct Deepwater.
No, it shouldn't be this hard to find this thing though. Like, it's not your fault, but like, it's weird that it's this difficult.
Well, I went on his Wikipedia page first, and that was a bust. Director. Okay, 11.
IMDb's tricky too. Yeah.
I don't like the way they've changed IMDb.
No, I don't
honestly.
like it either.
Oh, he directed Live by Night.
That's right.
Yep,
that one did not.
We finally got there. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. It just wasn't super well received.
So, Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Air. I liked Air quite a bit. Very entertaining.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, and then he directed a short in 1993. I killed my lesbian wife, hung her on a meat hook, and now I have a 3-picture deal at Disney. I need to check that out. Yeah,
that's insane.
That's a really good title.
Pretty good. Affleck. No, I got nothing wrong with it. I like Affleck. I like Damon.
Do you? Can you think of any celebrity? You know what? Here. I'm gonna heartbreak it. Can you think of any celebrity breakups that have like bummed you out?
Oh man. No.
I just Googled. Okay.
I don't really care.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. All right. BuzzFeed. 25 of the most devastating celebrity breakups.
All right.
I'm going to see if any of these can even, if any of these tug at your heartstrings, because they broke up. All right. And we'll rapid fire them.
All right.
Anna Faris and Chris Pratt.
No.
Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey.
No.
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston.
No.
Amy Poehler and Will Arnett.
No.
Okay. You know what? That is the one so far where I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I'm not walking around for days, but now
Nikki's read her book. He's kind of an asshole.
I think just on a superficial level, knowing them, I was
it's sad because
they're both funny people.
Funny people, funny people should be funny together. Yeah.
This is BuzzFeed. This is a BuzzFeed list. It says everyone in ABBA. Apparently, they all dated each other. I don't know. They're all Swedish, right?
Yeah. Fleetwood Mac was the same way. No, it doesn't make me sad because there was some solid solo music from those guys, and now they're back together. So
that's the thing. So, with Fleetwood Mac, some of the best music came from those terrible relationship. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone.
No,
I honestly didn't know they dated. Nia Vardalos and Ian Gomez, the star of Cougar Town.
No.
Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling.
No.
Nina Dobrev and Ian Somerhalder.
No.
I'm going to get to one, I swear. One of these 25, you're going to go, oh.
I'm heartless.
Taylor Swift and Taylor Lautner.
No.
They're really young there. If you're heartbroken by that, it's time to grow up a little
12. Bit. What are you doing?
All right, you know what? Ben Stiller and Christine Taylor.
Ben Stiller and Christine. No. Okay. I mean, no.
That's the second one where I'm like, oh, I was kind of like
that's the closest I got, but I'm like, no, not really, because I kind of forgot that was ever a thing. So
Jenna Dewan and Channing Tatum.
No.
Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens.
No.
Man, look at how young old Zac is. This is before he became dangerously muscular.
Didn't he have some sort of health scare recently too?
I would imagine he looks
he looks
ridiculous.
He looks like his body is in constant pain.
This is I can't imagine the author of this BuzzFeed article was that heartbroken over Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh. First of all, this picture's from 92.
It's incredible. No.
Brad Pitt has made it the second time. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
No.
I'm more heartbroken by the crazy Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob romance.
Oh, that was sad. Okay, that's sad.
Remember they were carrying around each other's blood?
It was awesome. And she was kissing her brother.
She was making it over there.
Sweet.
Odd looking. We already talked about John Voight. He raised some children. Was that his child? Was the brother?
Don't even, does he know? I don't. John's something else.
Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter.
No, that's the closest though.
Tim Burton has rebounded nicely. I believe he's with Monica Bellucci now.
Okay.
I think we've talked about this recently. Tim Burton, his projecting batting average is he's blowing it away with the women he's dated. Because look at him.
Yeah.
Seal and Heidi Klum.
That was a little bit of a bummer.
Was that a bummer for you? Okay.
That one gets me. Because I liked that couple. Okay. It was nice. It was one of the first, if I could be totally off base here. But I remember that being one of the earlier, two very famous people mixed race couples.
Okay.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like that felt cool that was something that was, and it felt accepted. It never felt like they were getting shit for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, that's a bummer. Yeah.
Okay.
And I like Seal.
Yeah.
Heidi seems all right. I don't know.
That is an ad for Bluey.
There we go.
The Blueys have not broken up, right?
God, I hope not.
The Bluey parents popped up, but it's just an ad for Disney Junior. But they popped up on my Buzzfeed. I took a double take for a second.
That show's amazing, by the way.
I watch a little bit of Bluey. Yeah, White's still a little too young, but every once in a while,
it's really good.
Yeah. Ryan. Okay, we got a few left. Ryan Felipe and Reese Witherspoon.
No.
Britney Spears and JT.
Nope.
I don't know who either of these two are. Lisa Koshy and David Dobrik.
Nope.
Colin Haynes and Jeff Leatham. A couple of gentlemen here. I don't know who they are either.
Yeah.
Anna Camp and Skylar Astin. I believe these two are from the Pitch Perfect movies.
I don't know.
My wife probably knows them.
Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa and Amber Rose.
Is Amber Rose the one that's like dating Kanye now?
I think she was. I don't think she is anymore.
Okay. No. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Bruce Willis and Demi Moore.
No.
Okay.
No, I was too young to care.
I was too young to care too. They seem to be amicable as well, right?
Yeah. I think I had seen striptease at that point.
Okay.
Because my dad had a VHS and he didn't hide it well at all. And I popped that bad boy in like multiple times. I wore the tracking out on that movie. And if anything, I'm sure at the time I was like, at least she's single now.
Yeah. Here's my chance.
Yep. And then Ashton got her.
Oh, that's right. Did Bruce? He didn't marry. Like the woman he married was not like a superstar, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think.
Did he remarry?
I think Bruce remarried.
Okay.
Well,
that's fine.
Bruce Willis' wife, because she's like helping him out with his current.
Yeah. I hope old Bruce is doing right.
Emma Hemming Williams. Is that Emma Hemming Williams? She's married to Bruce Willis since 2009. She's a British-American model, actress, and businesswoman.
Cool.
So, good for them.
Yeah, I hope he's doing all right.
And finally, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. You're upset about
that one really got me. No, I don't care. I don't like either of those people. I don't dislike them. I don't know these people. So, like, when I say I don't like them, I don't know them. They're probably delightful people, maybe, or not.
I think there's like, I just
don't like them as entertainers. Like, there's nothing about them that appeals. I
liked
to me.
Party in the USA, and I don't really like much as far beyond that with my
I've got a child that is of the age where Party in the USA now is old enough to where it's acceptable to play at every child's event.
Oh, okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
And so I hear it a lot.
Right.
And it's so I'm kind of over it.
I'm of the age where I remember it being played ironically a lot in
sure.
like kind of like college years,
of
college
course.
years. It was played a little ironically, but it was one of those ironic songs that like everybody kind of liked.
Yeah, like I never hated it. I don't even hate it now, but like I'm over it. That one, Happy, the Pharrell song, I can't do it anymore. That's at every kid's dance
I
situation.
Can see that.
The other one is that Trolls song.
The JT one? I got this feeling.
I got this feeling you should piss off. Bruno Mars, too.
Which one?
Uptown Funk.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I used to like that song.
Yeah. Bruno's got him and Gaga got a new song out.
He needs a new song.
Yeah.
He owes the IRS like an absurd amount of money.
I forgot about that. I did read that story the other day.
Actually, not the IRS. He owes the casinos.
Yeah, he's like in debt with the casinos. Yeah.
Yeah, he's performing there to like.
This is like that's kind of some old like Hollywood shit
sweet.
Too, right?
This is like Scorsese's Casino. I just hope Bruno doesn't get taken out to the cornfield.
But yeah.
Yeah. We don't talk about Bruno, am I right?
Luckily, this Gaga song seems to be a hit because I've heard of it, and if it's gotten to me, then like
I hope he pulls himself out of whatever hell he's or not. I don't know. Like once again, I don't know him.
He always kind of seemed like he wanted to be like an old timey Hollywood guy, like kind of like a Sinatra style in some ways, and now he's like this is like method performing for him.
It is. He's actually like going through it. Yeah, and a lot of people did the whole like, oh, he's the next Michael Jackson thing.
Yes.
There's always so and so is the next Michael Jackson or so and so is the next Beatles. That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you can never live up to that because why would you want to be the next anything? I don't know. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. Bruno, hey man, I just hope the demons you're facing you're able to. And if not, at least you get to do it with Lady Gaga. That's pretty cool.
So all right. So we got some feedback here.
Yeah, all right.
Now that we've moved on from...
That's a nice shirt, by the way. We talked about the shirt.
My Eddie
Tim
Kingston
is wearing
shirt?
an Eddie Kingston shirt.
Absolutely.
We mentioned we were off air. We were talking about
wrestling shirts.
That's a good one.
Because you kind of don't notice like a lot of wrestling and horror shirts are similar in that like they can be a little too in
too
in
loud
your face.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to find the right one. This one I like quite a bit. This is the one I kind of wear out a little bit. Yeah.
Did I show you my new shirt?
That's the Care Bear shirt. Is that the green Care Bear?
This is Wish Bear.
Wish Bear. Okay.
I like the back a lot.
Okay. Emotionally exhausted. Where'd you get that?
For our listeners, it's a shirt with Wish Bear from the Care Bears on it. And the back says emotionally exhausted with a picture of Wish Bear joyfully holding a rainbow or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, doing what Care Bears do. No, I got it from I think it was like Target.
That's a good
insane.
shirt.
It's a really good shirt.
Yeah, everyone's sort of like Target and even like Kohl's out in the
they have some killer ones
I'm
here
talking
and there.
about. They've got some kind of fun shirts. Yeah.
Anyway, I had to bite.
Alex wrote us an email. We were always begging for emails, and we've gotten some nice ones.
I like that you called him Alex and not the founder.
Well, you'll see why in a second.
Oh.
Subject line: Mark Summers did not host Good Eats.
He did.
He hosted Unwrapped on the Food Network.
Okay.
Good Eats was Elton Brown. And then he says, "You're welcome." And I really wish he would have misspelled "your" or misused, but he did it right.
What a piece of crap.
You know what? I was going to talk about the Midwest Game Nerds new episodes that you can find now.
Oh.
But guess what?
Well, we like the rest of those guys, though.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're not going to talk about what Alex is playing. John has been playing Disneyland Adventures.
We'd hate to mention the wrong game.
Disneyland Adventures, John has been playing. That takes me by surprise a little bit. I know, John has
got 2 kids, man.
He does have 2 kids. So what is this? Do you remember the magazine Disney Adventures?
I do.
Okay.
Never had a subscription to it.
Disneyland Adventure. So like this is it's a Kinect game from Xbox One. From what I can tell.
They're still Kinect.
My guess is, I have not listened to this episode yet, full disclosure. My guess is that, like you said, with one of his children, he has hooked up the Kinect, and it's kind of doing, because it's like a...
Can you hook it up to the current Xbox?
Unless he has hooked it up to his old one, Xbox, like this was Xbox One, Xbone.
What's the current is that the current Xbox One? Is that what it is?
No, it's like Xbox and the Xbox series. That was the third one. Xbox One was the one that came out in the mid-10s.
What's the new one? Series S?
What is the current Xbox?
God, I'm out of the
If you want more in-depth video game conversation, Xbox Series X and S. S is the smaller one.
I don't know.
X is the big.
It doesn't matter.
But if you
I like my Switch.
Check out the Midwest Game Nerds. And you know what? If they make any mistakes on their podcast, make sure to send them an email.
Yeah, write to them. Here's the problem. I can't. Because they could say anything about video games. I believe
we just had to Google what the current Xbox is.
I don't even know what the current Xbox is. I thought we were still on the Xbox One. I don't even know what's happening.
I had the first Xbox. I still have it at my parents' house.
My brother had it.
Hooked up, and I had the original controller, and everybody hated how big that controller was.
You liked
it? I fucking loved it.
Really?
It was I loved it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think it just I don't know.
Wow.
It fit my hand, I guess.
I like that. All right. NBA player hands.
Then we got normal size controllers.
I like those. Yeah, I didn't like. Yeah, that controller was too big. I never liked the N64 controller either.
Do you have a Switch Pro controller?
Which one's that?
It's kind of the normal Switch controller.
I've got a Pokemon themed controller. I don't know.
Okay,
if
it might be the Pro controller. It's my favorite controller.
It's really comfortable, so it's probably that.
It's probably that, just a Pokemon version of it.
I don't mind the Joy-Con either, though.
The Joy-Con. Did you ever play with the Joy-Cons and the thing they send you with? That's what gave me carpal tunnel.
The clicky guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played with that.
That was when I played Twilight Princess for a whole weekend.
Your fingers
not Twilight Princess.
Too cramped together.
What was Breath of the Wild?
Sure.
For a whole weekend, I came into work and I had to go buy a wrist spray, like a wrist thing.
Oh my god!
Because I could not move my.
Was it the controller or the amount of time you spent playing that game?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
That's fair.
Yeah, my wife was out of town for the weekend.
If it had been a different controller, you'd probably be okay.
If it was the Switch,
but also you were being irresponsible.
Yeah, because I remember that Sunday I woke up and I'm like, ugh, what's going on here? And then I fired it up and I'm like, I gotta get this next. I gotta open up this next tower.
Oh my god.
I don't get addicted to video games, but whatever reason, that one weekend I'm just like.
When one captures you, it's magic.
Yes.
It's also like self-destructive, but it's like magic.
Yes.
It's one of the more beautiful ways you can self-destruct.
Yes. Because it is like time traveling too. Because you just you look up and you're like, what the?
Oh my god! It's been 4 hours.
I've been playing the new college football game, and yeah, it's like I played a little bit in Spider-Man 2 as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
You've been playing
I've been playing Splintered Fate.
Is that a Turtles game?
Turtles.
Okay.
Yeah, it just came out.
Beat 'em up?
No, not yes and no.
Oh,
it's a roguelike thing.
Okay.
It's like Hades with turtles. So it's a dungeon crawler Diablo style. It's sweet. I love it.
Did you watch the trailer for that Halloween Evil Dead kind of?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
The Evil Dead one fits, I think, like the aesthetic.
Ash versus Evil Dead.
I'm not understanding the Halloween thing.
Okay. I thought it might be fun. I thought you might like it because it is kind of a beat 'em up side scroll.
I'll play it.
Yeah.
Gladly. But I don't get it. Like, I'm like, what? This is
that. Do you think it would fit better if it were a Friday the 13th game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's still a weird choice, though. I don't know.
Carpenter is involved in that, I think. I think there's a second Halloween.
This one?
I think he's involved in both, is what Bloody discussed. But he's also involved. There's a second game that they haven't come out and announced yet that I think Carpenter is more involved in. So, and by involved in the game, he probably I don't know.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that looks like it. Looks like him on his couch, in between directing Suburban Screams from his
mask is cool
from his garage.
Mask works. Yeah, all I ask is that there's an alternate costume, much like the Friday the 13th game. You can pick alternate Michaels. I want the H5, Halloween 5. I want that weird neck one.
You want to be able to, yeah.
Yeah. I want the giraffe.
That would be
Michael Myers.
sick, right? Because that's one of my favorite parts of the Spider-Man games is you can unlock all the different costumes, and even if I think a costume sucks, I want it.
Yeah.
And I'll play with it a little bit too.
Sure.
Because I'll be
dabble.
Yeah, me too. But that would be cool if they did that for if there was a Halloween game, you can unlock all those. I guess they did that for the Friday the 13th. Yeah.
I want the weird short Michael Myers, little kid Michael Myers with the big mask. I want him too. That kind of bobbles around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Tyler Maine's back, by the way.
What do you mean?
He's in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, are we spoiling? Well, this thing is. He's in the trailer. I'm sorry.
He's in the trailer.
I was just trying to be mindful.
It's fantastic. Good for him. I'm happy for Tyler Maine. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got.
He's in the #1 movie in the world. Well, not anymore. Alien is, but he was.
But he was for a while.
It's going to end up being the #1 movie overall, I think, right?
Yes.
I think it beat out Inside. Ooh, Inside Out might beat it.
Inside Out 2, I think, is still. It doesn't matter. It's all Disney.
So is Alien.
Right?
Yeah.
It's insane.
You didn't see Romulus, did you?
No. We were going to go on Tuesday, and we had a date night thing. Josie was out for the night, and by the time we were done with shopping for back-to-school stuff, we were starving. So by the time we'd finished eating, it would have been we wouldn't have gone to the theater until 11 o'clock. I'm not doing.
That's for you and me when we want to go see.
That's
in a violent nature.
That's your and I's special thing.
Good. I'm glad you brought this up.
Delirious and
it's time for a little self-promotion and a little victory lap before we get into Wrong Turn. So a couple months ago, I restarted the honor roll, and I went on there and I calmed everybody down because around this time. I calmed all the horror fans down because around this time, Variety or Hollywood Reporter, one of the trades, had a big thing that said, "Is horror is horror dead at the box office? Is it ever going to come back? Have studios moved on from it?" And everybody's freaking out about this. And I stepped in, being the calm, rational human being that I have.
Sure.
And I said, "Hey, Like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, a couple of movies, because this was around the time Abigail had underperformed, and
Sure.
I feel like, The First Omen had underperformed, like a bunch of, like, bigger tentpole stuff kind of underperformed.
You liked both those movies, right?
Yes, I liked them quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
And Abigail I want to talk about a little bit later when we talk about Wrong Turn, but I said, like, listen, like, we haven't gotten to a lot of the big stuff yet. Like, I count A Quiet Place as a horror franchise. And I actually thought the M. Night movie might do a little bit better, but even that's done okay.
The tentpole stuff.
Yeah, the tentpole stuff. And I said Alien. Romulus still hasn't come out. Like, everybody was comparing it to 2023, and a lot of the 2023 stuff came out in the first half of the year. And, like, this is backloaded because of the writer's strike, a lot of it too. Mm-hmm. So now, guess what? Horror is back, and I didn't even talk about Longlegs, which has killed it. And, like, Longlegs barely made any money, or not, is barely made for anybody, really, comparatively to a lot of these stuff. So, like, I just want to say, like, you're welcome. I hope everybody made it through this. Also, it is interesting looking back in that first part of the year, because, like, nobody was going to the theater for anything. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't just horror movies.
Yep.
I actually think maybe if the Mad Max movie was released now, it might do a little better, but because it seems like people are back in theaters now during the summer.
I think you might be right. I don't know.
Anyway, thank you for allowing me that opportunity to really rub
it in.
We like to, when we are right about things, we like to bring it up. When we're wrong about things, we just move on.
We like you to not send us feedback telling us we're wrong. How dare you? Anyway.
You want to talk about this movie?
I'm rattled.
Our final stop here in the woods?
Yep, this is the last trip to the woods for a bit. I'm happy we're out of the woods.
Me too. This was a fun idea, and we're done with it.
Yeah.
Wrong Turn 2021. We hit me with a time machine. We're not going to do any sort of time machine segment. It was like 3 years ago.
My mouth was full.
Friends hiking the Appalachian Trail are confronted by the Foundation, a community of people who have lived in the mountains for hundreds of years. This was written by Alan B. McElroy, who I believe...
He wrote the original.
I think he also wrote Halloween 4 and Spawn, the Spawn movie.
Oh, my God. 4 I knew about. Wow, Spawn, too.
So...
Is he involved in the... No.
What's that?
Is he involved in the new Spawn film? That's definitely happening.
King Spawn?
King Spawn. That will never be the final title. I'm sorry. Let's just move on.
I think King Spawn is the current comic that's on stands right now. Like, Spawn has become the king of hell, I think, is what's happened.
That's fine, but that's not going to be this movie, right?
Remember when Marvel got the rights to... This is my fault. Angela?
Yeah. Angela!
Big deal that is. All right, so Wrong Turn. So I had actually seen this before. This was my pick. I kind of wanted to do something. Wanted to go back and we've kind of jumped around time periods. We've done mostly like 80s, 70s.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about this one, though, because it is kind of a modern version of the horror in the woods subgenre. And I do think there's some modern elements in this as well. Mm-hmm. And we'll dive into those a little bit as we go along here. And it tries to twist it on its, flip it on its ear a little bit. So this was my pick. I'll start off with my thoughts on it. And I'll throw to you because I'm interested in what you have to say. I'll be quick. I liked this movie a lot the first time around. But I liked it less this time. And here is why I think that is. I talked a little bit, because on the honor roll last month, I talked about Abigail. And one of the things I talked about was the spoilers for Abigail. They pretty much spoiled it in the marketing. And if you've stayed away from it, I'll try not to spoil it. I don't know how you can avoid what Abigail...
I haven't seen anything about it.
Oh, no? Good for you. I won't spoil it then. I'll just say...
What is it on?
It's on Peacock right now.
I can watch it.
Yes. Yep. And I would suggest it. I think you did. It's a lot of fun. But...
Is the spoiler that little girl's a vampire? Oh, well then...
It's in the marketing, so that's why. Okay. But a lot of people have said, man, I wish I didn't know this, because the movie plays out as if you don't know that for a little bit.
Okay.
And I think the idea was, like, you'd be taken by surprise by it if you came across it on cable or whatever.
But Nikki doesn't know, so...
So, yeah, maybe not.
That could be fun.
But I've seen some people, and it's a valid argument, and it's a valid criticism, too. Like, I wish... Or a valid thought, I should say. Like, I wish it hadn't been spoiled for me. My argument was, like, I actually thought Abigail... It worked better for me knowing the twist, because... all these people, all these kind of goofballs are locked in the house with her.
And you know the secret.
I know the secret.
Yeah.
They don't know, and that's the fun
Being
for me.
in on the joke is kind of fun.
Yes.
Or in on the,
Being in on the twist.
Yep.
Now, the first time I watched this movie, I had no idea what the foundation was. And I did not know, and that's what kind of, once it got to that kind of twist in the middle of this movie, Wrong Turn, once it kind of explained who the foundation was, I went, oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I like the way it ties into kind of current events and the world around. Mm-hmm. And I went, oh, that's neat. And then this time, now that I knew that going into it, the first half really bored me this time because it plays out for me like a straightforward Horror in the Woods movie. Definitely. And I'm waiting for the thing to kick in, but I already know that the thing is kicked in. And there's not that fun like it is with Abigail where I'm like, I know something you don't know. Like,
yeah, I get that.
Because it's more, I think because the twist is more thematic in a lot of ways, like it doesn't work for me as much as like a kind of like a plot-based character-based twist, like in Abigail. So I just want to make that comparison. I still think this is an interesting, and I want to get into later what we like in reboots and remakes. I think this is interesting, I guess, reimagining of the Wrong Turn franchise, which had gone 6 movies deep, I think, by this point. A lot of direct-to-video stuff after the first one. Yep. I like the original Wrong Turn. I don't hold it sacred by any means. I think it's a fun Horror in the Woods movie. So I think this is still worth a watch because I do think there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. I do think it's a little bit confused in its messaging, though, and that kind of cropped up with me in the second viewing. What did you think this for your first time watching this movie?
Yeah, I've seen the original Wrong Turn. I saw it in the theater back when it came out, and it's not sacred by any means. I don't hold it sacred, but I do think it's one of the better one of the better original. Not that it's not aping off of plenty of things that came before it, but like one of the better original properties that sprung up during that time period. And there weren't many. That was a time period dominated by a lot of reboots, remakes, things like that. And so it stuck out for me. And I've always had like a nice little soft spot for Wrong Turn because of that. Like it's a fun little in the woods slasher movie. And I like a good deformed, creepy redneck family. What can I say? I'm a sucker for it. I've not seen a single Wrong Turn sequel. Not one. 0. I've not seen 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. This is the first Wrong Turn, I'm using air quotes, sequel.
I'll go over the sequel. I had a game I wanted to play with you, so I thought maybe you had seen a couple.
I've seen none of them.
Okay.
So it's a blind spot. That could be a fun fight the franchise.
That could be,
point.
yeah.
And so, like, none of that mattered to me at this point. I had a feeling this was probably going to be a little different, maybe, or like, this is a weird one for me to review because I'm of two minds. Like, on one hand, I love and admire, and it's even more admirable, it's the same writer.
Right.
I love and admire that they took the name Wrong Turn, a franchise that is now, this is the 7th entry, and did something that stays true to the roots in terms of it's kids in the woods in peril, right? But did something so totally and completely different with it. I think that's great. It's awesome. When you've hit the 7th in a franchise, I think it's bold to do it, and I think it's probably the right thing to do. Not that it was high stakes for the Wrong Turn franchise for the last couple decades. But anyway, on the flip side, I think that the execution is a mixed bag for me. The first half, as you said, does play like a pretty standard run-of-the-mill kids in the woods being stalked by some sort of unseen creepy people like that. It's pretty straightforward. Once they have their first full kind of encounter with the foundation, things really do shift. But it's interesting because unfortunately, look, I don't get scared at horror movies generally. I don't think you do either. It just, like, that's not something. but I can still admit when I feel something is scary in a movie.
Right.
Even if I'm not actively scared by it, this is a scary scene, like cool, scary scene. I think that's sometimes people have a hard time like differentiating the two. Like you can say something is scary or without like saying like I was scared by it. Like there's a difference. I don't know. Like the Conjuring movies are scary, but I wasn't scared by them. I wasn't ever like, oh my god, like I'm quaking in my boots or anything like that because it's a movie. With this one, once we meet the foundation, yes, there's a shift in terms of what the Wrong Turn franchise has been thus far. But there's also a shift where I go, nothing about this is scary anymore to me, really.
Okay.
Like, it just feels like a weird, like, psychodrama or something. I don't know, like, it never felt...
When we started getting into, like, the judgment scene.
Yeah, it never
felt... The court scene, I should say.
It never felt overly, like, scary to me. It just kind of felt like, I don't know. We lost the horror part of it, I felt like. I could be totally off base here, but for me, when you get into this kind of into like the culty horror and stuff like that, normally it's less is more. When you get into like when you're dealing with like this kind of like idea of like a cult in the woods or whatever, more is more sometimes. Like I want to see how nasty these people are. And this movie's not terribly, like, keen to get nasty in terms of its on-screen value. I wanted a little bit more.
It cuts away a couple times from, like, big moments.
Quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see the aftermath sometimes. Like, I don't need to be gratuitous. I don't need to be Terrifier. But, like, I wish it at least kept a little bit of that DNA from The Wrong Turn, from that first movie. And I'm assuming the franchise after that. A little bit nastier and with some fun kill scenes and stuff. It doesn't really do that.
Yeah.
I know that's not what it's trying to do, but the DNA, I guess just like, I love the idea of changing up the franchise. I don't love that I don't feel much of the DNA of what Wrong Turn has been to this point at all. So I'm a mixed bag on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very mixed bag.
The last thing I would think I want to talk to you about, I guess, what did you? I'll ask you then. What did you think about what do you think of the idea of the foundation? I think it's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah. I don't know how well executed it is in a lot of ways because I think the other thing I was asking myself this time around too is like, and they even kind of hand wave it at some point is like, how have they survived? How do these people live there? Like, what are they doing? Like.
It's a really cool concept. It's a half-baked execution.
I kind of think so, too, yeah.
So I would love that...
The director has said in interviews that he toned down a lot of the political stuff. And first of all, I'm like, wow, okay.
Why?
But I also think that maybe like a lot of what we're thinking is like hidden. Because the other thing, too, is like, it's weirdly sympathetic to certain characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And it comes across as kind of like half-stepping, like kind of like it doesn't go all the way in with a lot of different ideas. Mm-hmm. I'm even thinking like some of the locals are like assholes in the beginning, and then it becomes like like aren't there like Confederate flags all over this place too? And like it
feels that way.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if I actually saw one, but I'm sure there was. Yeah.
So it kind of feels that way, and like I almost like the I compared this to some of it to the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one produced by
I haven't seen that yet.
Fetty. I think written by Fetty, and then I can't remember the director's name.
The one on the bus, where he kills people on the bus?
Yeah, and there's like a great Tesla gag in it. But like, it's weirdly like that movie's politics are all over the place too, but it's so fucking mean and shitty that like I respect it more because that movie seems to really hate everybody, and like I kind of dig that more than this, which is
kind of sweet.
Yeah, with this, which is like it's just like overly sympathetic to a lot of people, a lot of weird people, like and like you said, like certain characters just disappear, and like I guess what's our guy's name, Darius? He just goes to live with these people, from what I could tell.
Which is fine. I'm cool with that twist of twist, but like I'm cool with that reveal that he's kind of like gone native or whatever, but they don't do anything with it.
Right.
Like, he kind of just goes, like, I'm cool here, you can go. Part of the issue here is it's a movie that feels compromised to me.
Okay.
Very compromised. I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff here, but here's what I gathered from watching it. They felt like they had to make the first half the Kids in the Woods slasher movie. The by the numbers, pick them off one by one thing. Before they could get into the weird stuff. The interesting stuff, really. And so for that reason...
Oh, that's yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, sorry. That's the other thing. Like, because you mentioned the kids, they're kind of assholes too. A lot of them. Like, they're really kind of
sending any sympathetic characters in this movie. There's
one. Like maybe that's what I'm trying to say there too. And like, they ask for sympathy at weird times. And you know what? I don't know. I kind of think MODINE is a little bit too. I think MODINE is kind of who's excellent at this.
He's kind of like a co-lead, really, in the movie.
Co-lead, yeah. And I like some of the. Actually, I like a lot of the MODINE stuff because MODINE is sweet because he looks like the dude that like gets up every Saturday and bikes for like a.
I just like MODINE.
Hour. Yeah, I do too.
Like,
I like
he's
him
a
too.
presence that I enjoy. Yeah, like I will never say no to MODINE.
But yeah, like they asked me to be sympathetic towards these kids in the back half. And then, like, and I think it's part of what the movie is trying to say with, like, kind of like how everybody judges each other without really knowing them.
Sure.
But I don't know. I'm kind of judging these kids in the first half because they're kind of pricks to these people.
They are.
Yeah. And but like the other people, on the other hand, I'm sitting there and like they're kind of shitty and racist too. If I like, they say shitty things too. And like, how am I supposed to like? Who am I supposed to like?
Is the lesson that everybody sucks? I don't know.
But if you're gonna, I guess that's my point. Is like if that's the thing, then just go all in and be as mean as possible. And like you said, it cuts away from some of the violence too. And like I just kind of want to just go all mean and like just be shitty.
Go full, full bore.
Like a Coen Brothers movie where like the idea is like you don't like anybody. That's the point.
Go for it. Why not?
Sorry, you mentioned the kids.
I'm with you. No, I guess, but the thing is, there's a lot of time spent on having to make it a slasher movie in the woods early on, and it's an okay slasher movie in the woods. It's like not that great. That by the time they get to the interesting weird stuff with the cult, with the Foundation, there's not enough run time, to flesh out what the Foundation is, to earn that. It's too little, too late.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I feel like if we had got through some of the early, like, oh look, these are obnoxious college kids in a small, like that whole the stuff you have to do.
Right.
Like, honestly, like, just get them in the woods sooner, like, so we can like learn about this culture and these people, like, because there is interesting stuff there, and I think the lead, the leader of the Foundation.
Yeah. What's he's an actor that's been not We Are Still Here. I think We Are Who We Are.
Yes. Yes, he is. Yep.
He's good in this movie. He's very good.
He's
in this
very
movie.
good.
Yeah.
I want more of that. I want more of him. By the time you get to those
so you
guys,
kind of wish that came earlier in the movie.
By the time you get to him, you got like what 35, 40 minutes left in the movie. That's not enough time to actually make me understand what this is. Like, I don't need to know everything about this culture and about these people. Like, but it's interesting enough, and I was intrigued enough to like wish I had spent more time with them.
Yeah,
like none of it feels earned. Now mind you, I know I recognize there's like a passage of time between the MODINE stuff we're seeing and the beginning of the journey of these kids, right? I get that. Like, I understand. Did they ever mention how long it's been that she's been gone? I don't remember if there's ever been like, was there a definitive...
I'm sure there is.
I don't remember it. But like, like, her boyfriend going native doesn't feel earned to me.
Because we don't see that journey.
No,
yeah, it cuts straight to it. Yeah,
he's all of a sudden he's got a big beard, and I'm supposed to buy that he's all in. Or like she's like I'm supposed to buy that she's all in. Really, when you first see her again, you're supposed to be shocked that she shoots her dad with an arrow. Yeah. I'm supposed to buy into the fact that she could be all in too. She's not, obviously, but like I don't feel enough time has passed for me to like buy that. But also, I don't feel enough time has passed for me to really get interested in what this Foundation is. So when the leader of the Foundation shows up at the house towards the end of the movie, I love that idea. Like, I love that he's like in plainclothes and like he's like integrated. Like, he's probably done this kind of thing before. Like, he's probably gone into like the real world before, right?
Right.
I don't know. I want more of that. Like, I want to know more about them. Maybe that's a good thing.
You thought the Foundation stuff was so interesting that you wanted it. Yeah.
I don't half measure it. Like I understand the need to, like the desire to want to establish this is still a wrong turn movie. We're going to kill, 20-somethings in horrible ways. That's great. I understand. Like, I get that. But you can do that and also make the foundation aspect of it like the core. It just doesn't feel like that up until that point.
Yeah.
It feels like a Hillbillies in the Woods movie until it's not Hillbillies in the Woods.
Yes.
It should feel like something different the whole time through.
That's kind of what and that's a little bit what I meant by like knowing the twist now. It kind of hurts because there isn't that question. And honestly, there's not like, you're just kind of watching it as kids in the woods getting picked off. You're not like thinking about that too much. So yeah.
So that's, there's a really cool movie in here somewhere. It's just not the final product for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. I didn't like regret watching it by any means, but like, yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, all right, they tried something different.
One more, I want to get into some bigger picture stuff after this.
Sure.
But one more thing, what did you think of the ending? Because I'll just say I liked the over the credit stuff. I thought it was really
amazing.
Cool.
That stuff's amazing.
I kind of thought and you know what? I think that's another reason I liked it the first time is because it kind of leaves you on a high note. Mm-hmm. And I do think, I do think that's important for a movie too. A lot of the times is to have a good ending and to leave people like going like, oh, that was cool. Because, I'll say like The Last Omen without spoiling it. Like you know what? I just watched another movie called I Saw the TV Glow. And I did not like the last 10 minutes of that, but I loved the first hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
But it is I do think it is important for a movie to kind of leave you on a high note. And I think it can hurt and help a movie. But with The Last Omen, a lot of the tie-ins to the original Omen come in the back half. And I'm like, oh, I wish this would have just been its own movie. And I thought less of the movie in my head, and then I started going over it.
Yeah.
I think this movie I thought higher of coming out of it because I love when they cut back to that, and then the over the credits, it's basically becomes a mini movie over the credits, and it's great stuff. I think. Yeah,
the over the credits stuff is really cool. This is another spot where I felt like the movie was compromised. Probably was the ending, right? They do this thing where they do the fake out thing, where he kills her family in front of her, and then she kills him, and then they cut back. But there's no. I don't like this trope in movies.
Okay.
I don't like the whole fake out in your head ending, and then now we're watching the real.
Oh, I forget. Yeah.
Now we're watching the real ending. I don't like any of that. It feels corny to me. Unless it's something that's been established early in the movie, the person has some sort of
a dream sequence.
Yeah, sure, that's cool.
It could work in a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, if we've done this before, I'm good with that. We've established this could be a part of the movie you're watching. That's never happened. That's not a thing. It just happens. I honestly think they shot 2 endings for the movie, and at some point in the editing process, let's just do both. Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. But I love the over the credits part. It's great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. That sequence is really sweet. And it made me feel better about the movie after I finished watching it than I probably normally would have.
Yeah.
Honestly. So, yeah.
All right. So I want to talk about this, and we'll do it. It's election season. Everybody's testy.
Oh, God.
But I don't know. I think we can talk about this without getting
We're going to try it.
In the weeds. Nick.
Well, you and I will be all right.
Yeah, we're fine. I don't really care anymore either. I think, I don't know. I feel like if anybody's listened to this, you can probably guess where I stand on a lot of things.
Probably me too.
I'm pretty. A lot of this, though, is we're talking about the movies themselves and what they're trying to say. So, Nick, our good friend and fellow co-host on the Midwest Podcast Network, posted this in the Discord. It's a Reddit post that asks, where are all the quote-unquote Trump movies?
Sure.
I had an issue with this post, and I kind of I made my points about it, but it basically asks, what is Resist and Kish? Maybe you remember those capital P political movies from the mid to late 2000s that were critical of the Bush administration.
Sure.
They may not have been explicitly about
Land
Bush.
of the Dead.
Yeah. So he goes on to list a bunch of movies, or I think this is Burlap Thong is the user. I don't know who that. Maybe he or she. They go on to list a bunch of movies, and no horror movies on this list that I can tell right now.
Okay.
It seems to just kind of ignore horror movies. I'm going to be honest with you as they go through this, and they're wondering where all the Trump movies are. And I kind of read this and I went, well, so 2 things. Bush was president for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yep. Trump, as of this recording, has been president for 4, or was president for 4. You have to give it time. I also think COVID put a pause on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has to do it. And like I said, I don't think he left out horror movies, and we've talked about this every episode pretty much. They're examples of the anxieties of the time.
Yes.
And that's inherent.
That was part
in
of us starting the show.
Yes. That's inherent in the genre itself. This movie here, I think Wrong Turn 2021, as unsuccessful sometimes as it may be, does exemplify a lot of the anxieties of the time.
Yep.
You have kind of like we talked about, and honestly, backwoods horror is perfect for the Trump era when it comes to that, because you've got the class divide. You've got kind of xenophobia and fear of other people. Like, this is college kids versus more rural folk.
Yeah, well, and it's a
and that's where voting lines are
divided. There's a mixed race couple.
Yep.
I'll go ahead and say it. There's a mixed race couple in this group. There's a gay couple in this group.
Yep.
I mean, there's
moments in the movies where the one gay gentleman won't hold the other gay guy's his boyfriend's hand. So
yeah,
there are quotes in there's also there's big time anti-government sentiment. Yeah. There's big time survivalism. And yeah, it does make some comments, and I actually like some of what it says about judgment and like judging other people and not.
There are some like lessons, for lack of a better term there. Yeah.
One of the leader of the foundation goes to like, "We are the true America. We live free." He says that during the movie, without the corruption of your world. So like, they're the pure American.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of stuff about that, and I'm like, I got to thinking, and I was just like, I was thinking about some of the other like what I consider like Trump era horror movies. Sure. So I thought of, The Hunt is very obviously.
Right.
That is so on the nose.
Too on the nose sometimes.
Yes, yeah. I would agree. I actually think the Purge movies became kind of like Trump era horror movies.
That's not how they started, but yeah.
That's how they started.
Agreed.
I think that Invisible Man reboot has a lot to say about like men gaslighting women. That's because a lot of that comes out of the Me Too movement that happened during the Trump era. And the other one I thought about was because I wanted to mention this too, and I wanted to see if we could dig into the Obama era horror movies too, because I'm curious what, as we look back like 10 or so years ago. But I actually think that Us by Jordan Peele is more of the Trump era of his movies, because it kind of deals with
Get Out's more Obama era.
Get Out. So that's where I wanted to go. Yes, thank you. Get Out to me feels, it came out, I believe, a year into Trump's first term. And funny enough, Wrong Turn came, like I said, a month like during the January 6th, the insurrection. Like, it came like 2 weeks later. So it actually came after, but that kind of proves my point about how like a lot of this stuff doesn't come or make itself clear until later on down the road, what this post was about.
People need time to digest this stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why you got a lot of Bush movies, because Bush had 8 years in office.
Yeah.
By the time his first term was done, people had digested what he was as a president.
Right.
So movies were coming out that were kind of reflective on what his presidency was while he was still in his presidency. With Trump, not only did we only had 4 years of Trump thus far, but a chunk of that time was spent during COVID.
Yes.
We have not had a chance to really fully reflect on that.
And there was a writer's strike thrown in there as well.
Exactly.
Yes. So, yeah.
So, I do agree with you. There are Trump movies, specifically genre ones. I don't think we have as many as we did with Bush or even like Reagan.
And the Bush stuff too, like the Bush, like Land of the Dead you mentioned, that's made by like a guy in Romero who's been a political filmmaker since the beginning. You know,
day
one. Yes. Since day one.
Yes.
Yeah, and some of these horror movie directors aren't necessarily like Romero was. That was like one of Romero's main things. But I'm glad you mentioned Get Out, because that is also a movie where I'm with you. I think that to me is like the Obama era movie. It just came out a year after. That to me reminds me of, because when I think of Reagan era genre horror movies, I think of They Live. And that came out at like the very end of Reagan's term.
It's basically George Sr. when it,
Yes. Yeah. But like that.
That's the most Reagan horror movie.
Yes. Yeah. And so Get Out to me, with all it's saying about race and ownership of,
there's a lot going on in that movie that is reflective on Obama's.
Yes.
Not, I mean, it's
not necessarily critical of, and that's kind of the thing. Too,
no,
is, yeah.
but it is and it isn't, because there were a lot of people who wound up very, very jaded by what Obama's 8 years wound up being.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't like Obama necessarily as a president or as a person, but I know a lot of people from all backgrounds who had said, like, Obama's not what we were sold necessarily.
Right.
He wound up not exactly being this kind of a lot of people built him up to be this kind of like this left wing kind of like messiah of like he's gonna like, and he just wasn't that.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's not realistic.
Right.
Second of all, he just wasn't. Like he was a little more middle of the road, I think, than a lot of people realized.
It kind of became a running joke, and it was like a kind of a running joke. Well, black president, racism solved.
Right.
Like that was kind of like a running joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not how
the
it
case.
works.
Yeah.
And so there's some stuff in that Get Out movie that I think is both like it's a response to the praise and the criticisms of what his presidency wound up being looked at as. Yeah. So
the other thing too is like was Obama the he came in during the housing crisis, right? That was early.
When was his first term?
First term would have been 2008, right? 2008.
Yeah, that was right in the midst of the recession.
There were a lot of haunted house movies during that time period, during his term. Like I've always thought like the Conjuring movies and like the Insidious movies.
People were scared of houses.
People were scared of houses.
Not because they didn't,
but
not
I also
because they didn't want to live in them, because they wanted to. And
yeah, but I do think the ghost stories do play into like, because a lot of the Obama presidency was like coming to grips with our past as a nation.
Sure.
And I do think ghost stories are inherently about the past coming back to haunt you, like explicitly.
History. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other thing I wanted to ask you too, kind of a bigger picture thing is, what do you want? What do you personally want from I hate to call something an IP, but like a franchise that has been resurrected. So we've gotten like legasequels recently with like Scream and Halloween.
Sure.
Do you prefer that approach? Do you like a remake, a reboot? Like, what do you want for movies? Like, what do you look for in a movie? How do you judge it? Like something like this, because something that I admire that it, like you said, it took this franchise in a completely different direction than the original and what I was expecting. But I don't know how successful it is. So.
This is going to be a really corny kind of diplomatic answer, but it's how I feel. I want whatever the best story is.
Okay.
You know, that's going to take different forms depending on what the franchise is. So, I want whatever I think whatever winds up best serving the franchise, I guess. I tend to enjoy the legasequel approach the most.
I'm with you, yeah.
Because I'm able to get some fresh with that nice serotonin nostalgia boost. It's a nice mix of the two.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm just retreading the same shit over and over again with different actors. I feel like it pays tribute to what came before while also treading some new ground. I think that 2018 Halloween, I think, does a pretty good job of it. I think the Scream ones do a pretty good job of that. There are good examples, even outside of horror. I think legasequels have worked more or less.
Yeah.
But I think that they have a better track record for me than like full on like remakes
and reboots
or reboots. Or whatever. But I think there's times when a reboot or a remake is okay. Just depends on or a reboot, like a Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
I didn't like. What would a legasequel be to Planet of the Apes?
Right.
A reboot was the right way to go with that franchise at this point.
But even with that, like,
but the thing what's weird is we've seen so there was a remake.
Yeah.
And that sucked.
Yeah.
By and large, people agree that sucked. That was a remake. That was an astronaut who's coming. Like, it's the same plot essentially as the original, right?
Yes.
I'm not wrong in that.
Very
is
similar.
He playing the same character as Heston, or
it's been a long.
It doesn't
time.
matter. Basically, he is.
Yeah.
But the reboot was the right way to go with that franchise.
What's weird is like you bring that up, and it is Rise of the Planet of the Apes is probably more similar to this like wrong turn.
Sure,
because it's using
very different than
using kind of the similar story, but telling its own thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, so it just depends on the story. It depends on the history of the franchise too. Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me. It could be you can do any way. I tend to like the legasequel thing with horror. So
okay, I think I tend to. Yeah, I'm with you. I think I tend to like the legasequel better anyway.
But Wrong Turn isn't like that held in some sort of
no.
High,
that's the thing.
So it doesn't need I didn't need Eliza Dushku showing back up. Like,
right.
That wouldn't mean that much to me. It's different with like a franchise like a Halloween or something that's held in sort of a high regard.
Was it Jeremy Sisto and?
He is.
Yeah, I would love to see Sisto.
Oh my god,
Sisto back. I think he's on one of the FBI shows now.
You want that Sisto sleaze?
I love Sisto. Oh my god,
he's got a dirtiness about it.
He does.
It's great.
Okay, I think that's it. I was gonna do go through the Wrong Turn franchise, but you have never seen any of them.
Nope.
So there's no point in it. I will say, to those who have, I like the Joe Lynch one quite a bit.
2. Okay.
Yeah. That's part 2. And I feel
that's got Henry Rollins in it, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's some fun in the sequels. I feel like Bloody Beginnings is kind of fun.
I've heard that one's good.
I think that's the one. As I was going through the plots earlier, I think, but then I dropped out after that. I think that's 4. I don't think I watched 5 and 6.
6 is the one that got banned.
Okay.
Pulled off of shelves.
Okay.
Because they used an actual missing persons photo in a missing persons poster. They had to go back and re-edit and re-release the movie.
That's kind of funny.
Whoops.
I mean, not really for the...
Not for anybody involved, but for us, it's pretty funny.
So there you go.
Yep.
All right, that's the end of anything. It was a fun series. I think we've learned some stuff about ourselves and America as a whole.
Well, yeah, I mean, look...
This started with... the movie we went and saw, the slasher movie. What was it called?
In a Violent Nature.
Thank you, yeah.
It feels like it's been a year.
What a journey we've been on, yeah.
Right?
Well, we've been doing a ton of stuff in the meantime. And
I think I hate to say this. We've done a lot of fun series. This is probably my least favorite of the series we've done.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily our output. Well, although there was that one episode.
We won't say. You know what?
No, it's fine. It's Sleepaway Camp 2. I think
I'm kind of irritated because the Sleepaway Camp 2 one has more listens right now than the.
I think I was drunk.
The Deliverance one is really good, and more people listen to the Sleepaway Camp 2 one, and I'm like, hey,
Deliverance is a much better episode.
Listen to the Deliverance one; it's really good.
I think I was actively drunk on the Sleepaway Camp 2 episode, which is kind of good actually, but not so much. No, but we're family men. We're busy. We're trying our best, guys. No, it was fun. I'm glad we did it. But we're moving onwards and upwards. You posed an idea about potentially talking about our top 10s of a specific decade.
I think this might be kind of a fun thing, a fun refresh. And
we haven't done a top 10 in a while.
We've done brackets, but I think that's a different thing.
Oops, my table. Sorry. Whoops.
I want to dive into our personal tastes a little bit too, and kind of just take a break and think about the decades and. Yeah, like I said, some of our favorite movies, and let people kind of let people get to know us through our favorite films a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't want to do 80s. 80s is too hard. I can't. I don't know if I can even do it.
We're gonna have to do it someday. I'm gonna make us.
All right, I'll get there one day. I'm not ready.
80s is your favorite decade.
Yes.
There's a part of me that wants to make it really hard, and then on a tiny terror do our top 5 80s movies, non-horror.
I could do top 5 80s movies. That's easy.
Okay.
Movies, all-time movies?
Yeah, I'm saying non-horror movies.
Can it be horror as well, though?
So I was thinking what we would do is we do our top 10 horror movies from that decade, and then we do a top 5, top 10 non-horror movies as well.
Oh, man, I don't know.
But that's just what I was thinking.
This is hard.
But we don't have to do 80s next.
I almost want to do the challenge, but I'm not ready. No. I want to do 70s.
Let's do 70s. All right.
I think what we should do is the next time we do a top 10, we do 80s, and then we do 90s, and then we do...
You want to go in order?
Yes.
All right. I'm good with that.
We never do anything in order on this show, chronologically.
We might just... let's see how the 70s goes. And
let's see how 70s goes. And then I think if I can work up to 80s here next, I would be...
So we're going to talk about our top 10... horror movies
of the 1970s.
Of the 1970s.
Yes.
I am going to try and hold me to this because I do want to do this for us anyway.
Yeah.
I have a couple of reference books, and I'll put this out there too. John Kenneth Muir is the author. He does horror movies of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I think he's done, and he goes through, I don't want to say every movie.
It's a book for each decade.
Yeah, a book for each decade, and he spends a little bit of time on each movie, and he goes by year. So like 1970, he'll do some of like 15 to 20 of the big movies released that year.
That's cool.
So I want to go through and pull out some of the ones from there and then put them into like a document, and then I want to make sure you have it too, so we can really like make sure we're not missing anything either. Good. Yeah, so we have something to refer back to, and then you know what, I want to hear everybody else's as well.
Yes, I'd love to hear feedback on this.
Yes,
one.
And
so if
I'm
you're
going
on the Discord, throw it on the Discord. Top 10 horror movies.
Yes.
1970s. Email us. Facebook,
I'm going to
whatever.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm going to try to be a little more active in the next week or two to try to get some, because I want to hear people's.
I do too. There might be some stuff we're missing.
Yeah.
Some. There's always blind spots. So.
Yep. Absolutely. So,
or reassessments we could have.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think this might be something we do a little
legitimately
more.
Legitimately very excited for it. Yes,
because I think you and I need to. This is what we. I think every year we get to around this time, we're like, we need a bit of a refresh.
Well, dude, 100%. Every time we do a series, we're always feeling a little bit this way. This one is like I said, it hasn't been our favorite series to do, because it's not a very specific series.
Mm-hmm.
It's very so. I think for us, we're definitely feeling like I'm excited to do like a different thing. Yeah.
And we do want to revisit last episode at some point too.
I was thinking about that today.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea, but I'm not sure yet. So
okay.
No. Let that gestate.
But all right, that's what we'll be doing next time. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.